How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. You're frozen.
Am
You're,
I? Oh dear.
yeah. Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
there I am.
Okay.
Okay. Just had to
How's
be
your,
patient there. That's all.
how's your day going?
You know what? It's never the same day twice in my world, which is kind of nice. You always have
Sure,
different things, right?
sure. I'm sure it makes the day go by faster. So,
It really does. I can't believe it's 4 o'clock already.
yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah.
So that, I can't wait. We've been doing these interviews for almost a year now. I think you and I both started in April doing these weekly.
Yep.
So I can't wait till, we have these interviews and we talk about summer concerts that are coming up and just fun events. And I bet
Festivals, travel.
it will happen. We just have to get through this stuff now. So,
Yes.
all right. So I got a lot of questions.
Okay. Awesome. I'm ready.
All right.
Shoot. Go.
Is Burlington closer to the orange zone or the gray zone based on the numbers?
Well, we are closer to the gray zone,
Okay.
actually, according to the recent average. So they look at not a single point in time. So you may have a really good day, or you may have a really not good day. So they
Yeah.
look at the 7-day rolling average. So we are edging up a little bit on that 7-day rolling average. So getting closer to what it would look like to go back into lockdown, but I don't think that's in our future. I really believe that this is just a little blip, and I continue to encourage people to take all the safety precautions. Notwithstanding, vaccinations are here, and we're starting to get thousands of people vaccinated, which is awesome. Please continue to follow all those health measures, wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart, don't socialize. Our medical officer of health is recommending to people, don't go out and, go over to each other's house and socialize. It's still too soon. We can kind of ride this. So some folks are saying we're already in a third wave, but what's happening here in Halton is nothing like what we saw before Christmas. So I'm reasonably confident we'll be able to, ride this out and start moving in the direction of orange, but it's not going to be soon, right?
Yep.
It's still going to take some time to just see those numbers start to come back down.
Okay. So no gray zone in Burlington.
No. Well, what I
Okay.
keep saying to people is we want to get to green.
Okay.
That's our goal. Think green.
Okay.
Think green for spring. We want to get to green. We want to get to gradually, safely reopening. We certainly don't want to go back.
Okay, awesome. Third wave, the Doctors Association early this week said that we are in a third wave. Dr. Davila, Dr. Lowe, and a couple of other doctors said, we are not, or they're not saying that we are. What is Halton Public Health saying?
So they're continuing to advise that we only go out for essential trips, that we continue to follow the safety health measures. So it's advising the most stringent of voluntary measures while we are still able to be open. And again, Halton situation is very different than Peel, the places that you've just mentioned. And we have been throughout this pandemic. It's really important to note that notwithstanding we've always been geographically beside those hotspots, our infection rates have been nothing like our neighbors on either side of us. And that is kudos to our community following those health measures. We have to continue to do that. And so when that giant megaphone all around us is calling for changes that really make sense in those areas, it's not necessarily applicable to what's happening on the ground in Halton. And again, notwithstanding that we've always been sandwiched between them, we've still done better throughout this pandemic and will continue to do better. So I think that localized approach, as long as our hospital capacity remains, which it does, then we are okay to have a localized opening right beside a localized closure. And, it's important to note that our Joseph Brent Hospital Pandemic Response Unit, which was there to be available if there was capacity needed across the GTHA, hasn't been needed.
Sure.
And now it's one of our vaccination clinics. And so those measures that warranted a GTHA-wide lockdown at Christmas, which was hospital capacity, we're not seeing that same pressure. So we're staying in the red. it's appropriate to stay in the red for us in Halton and continue for now to take that localized approach. Our neighbors on either side of us, if it's appropriate for them, based on what they're hearing from their medical officers of health, they've got to make those decisions in those public health units.
And have you guys seen the variants of concern pop up in Halton and Burlington?
We sure have. There's about 20, 21, it varies, and residents can actually get all of this information on the Halton webpage. So the public health unit manages all those numbers, halton.ca. Click on case status, and they've now added, it's been up there for a few weeks, but they've added the variants of concern and how many of those are. There's also a special site, and I'm sure we'll get to this, on vaccination. So you want to know how many people are being vaccinated, that's updated weekly.
Okay.
You can see that right there too. And you can sign up for alerts, so.
Cool. And I apologize. I went to downtown Oakville. I didn't go to downtown Burlington, just to check it out. I will come. I'm in Burlington now. Don't worry, I'll do it for next week. So, but the crowds are crazy. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was just, Trafalgar Lakeshore area. How the crowd's been in Burlington, the downtown area of Burlington, and are there any concerns?
So I've received no complaints, and that's usually a pretty good gauge. People let me know pretty quick what's happening. I live downtown, as you know, as well, so I'm out every single day walking the dog, so I have a look at what's going on. There are lots of people out, but they're keeping 6 feet apart, or they're in small groups. Like when my husband and I go out, there's two of us, and we're less than 6 feet apart because we live together, right? Yeah. So I really encourage people, when they see what they think is a crowd or in an inappropriate gathering, you don't necessarily know if those people live together in the same household. And remember, there's lots of blended families, and there's lots of situations where mom and dad live with the family. So it may look to you like somebody's breaking the rules, and they're in fact not. It's also really, our depth perception can be off. So if you're way apart from a crowd and you see all these people, it looks like they're closer than 6 feet, but you don't know that until you get on the ground. So we do have bylaw officers patrolling. We will continue to have that throughout the summer. We are just in the final stages of signing off on a new, what we call Park Ambassador program, that will give us real-time folks right on the ground in our hotspot parks. So if we have any issues of concern, whether that's overflowing garbage cans or people setting, fires in beach pits, or having inappropriate social gatherings, we'll get that information in real time instantly. So we're taking a lot of proactive and precautionary measures to make sure that when people enjoy our parks, and we want them to, please do, but they can do in a safe way, in a way that respects all of the regulations.
So sorry, you said that there's a new app that allows people to kind of
No, it's actually real people. So it's a new program. We call it the Ambassador Program. Sorry for blurring my words there. It's been a long day. So we're about to sign off on this at council on Monday. So our Parks and Recreation staff came forward and said, look, if you give us some additional funding, it's not going to be cheap, but it's well worth every penny, I think. We can have people on the ground at our hotspot parks, Spencer Smith and Beachway, as well as rotating to parks all over the city, to answer questions, to have good customer experience when our people come, and we get lots of visitors. So for them too, if they have questions, they can have a look at what's happening on the ground and then call in our roads and parks maintenance if there's garbage. They can call in our bylaw if there's inappropriate social gatherings. So they'll be right there, and right there on the ground in our parks to let us know what's happening, and also provide some good interaction with our residents. Answering questions, if you can't find a parking spot, or if you need help with something. So we call it our Ambassador Program, and I'm very excited about that, because I think some of the things that we've seen and the concerns that people, that land in my inbox, they'll have somebody on the ground in real time to deal with that.
So they're actual human beings.
Yeah, imagine that, right?
I know, it's crazy. When I see human beings now, I'm amazed. I was like, can we talk for hours? So anyways.
Yes, I know, yes. Stay 6 feet apart from them.
Of course.
There to answer your questions, for sure. I'm very excited about it, and our staff have done a great job of really putting some thought into what the public needs and what the public would benefit. So they started with what the customer or constituent experience would be, and then they built back the program from there. So it's great.
That's an awesome program. And I promise you, I am moving to Burlington. I will let you know, okay? Like, there'll never be a problem with me.
I hear they have a great mayor, so call her up and get the welcome to
So let's talk about the vaccination rollout. I saw you on your Instagram stories that you went to a facility, I believe, this week, right?
I went to two. I went to both. So we're the only one in Halton so far, which is awesome to have two in Burlington. So the first was at Joe Brandt, the pandemic response unit, which we talked about. They converted that. They didn't need it for COVID patients, thankfully. Converted that to a vaccination clinic, and that opened on Friday. I dropped by on Thursday, the day before. And then the Compass Point Bible Church opened on Sunday. I dropped by again the day before just to check it out, and the preparations were there. They were ready. Everything I have heard from people is that the booking system has been seamless, and the actual vaccine, getting your vaccine, has been awesome. And I've received, even this morning, a couple of emails from happy campers saying it all worked really well. It was well organized. They were in and out without a fuss, and no lineups, no standing and waiting. Ready, they were ready. So we took a day or two at Halton Region to make sure that everything was planned and in place, and it worked brilliantly.
So outside of getting a vaccine, I know you didn't get the vaccine, but did you go through the process of how the entire process works?
Yes.
Okay, and how was it?
I walked through. So you come in and they do an initial screening. So
Okay.
the usual screening questions, right? Like, have you been diagnosed with COVID?
Yeah.
Or have you traveled, right? So they do the screening to make sure that everybody is COVID free when they walk in the first place. Then they go to another spot where they give their ID. So when you book online, there's no walk-ins. It's really important to stress that. You can't just walk in. So you have to book your appointment online through halton.ca. So the second step, once you do the screening, is they will check that your appointment is valid. They will take your ID to make sure that you're a Burlington or a Halton resident. You can go anywhere in Halton. Any Halton resident can go anywhere in Halton. So if there's a location in Oakville or Halton Hills or Milton that's closer to you, even though you're a Burlington resident, you can go there. So they take your health card, your ID, and then you go and you sit, you get the needle. You sit there for a little while. You got to wait just to make sure there's no adverse reactions, but you sit in your same spot. And then when you're ready to go, you walk out a different way, and then you get a little receipt that says you got your vaccination. So if you had to, for any reason, show that to somebody, you have it either as a piece of paper or you have it on your phone. And then out you go, different door. So it's like a big loop where people aren't interacting, and it's all very, the chairs are spaced out, and the nurses are there to get the vaccine and put it in arms. So it's really well thought out.
And what's the timeline, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes?
Roughly 30 minutes, and
Okay.
we ask people don't get there too early. So,
Okay.
if you arrive early, stay in your car till about 10 minutes before your designated appointment, and then you come through the screening, and then you come through the ID, and then you sit in the chair. So all told, it shouldn't take more than about, half an hour.
Awesome. Cool. A lot of questions we get about seniors and vaccinations. Some seniors are homebound, can't leave home. Do, I guess, mobile testing units, or can they go out to houses in Burlington or in Halton?
So there is transportation free that is provided for people to get. So if you're over 80 and isolated, you don't drive, when you book your appointment, there is a partnership with all of the local cab companies. So in our case, Burlington Taxi, they will come up, they will pick you up, take you to your appointment, and take you home, and it doesn't cost you anything. So they've really tried to think about how to ensure that everybody can get to a clinic. And if you have special circumstances or need some additional help, then just call 311, and they will try to assist with specialized cases.
Okay. Have you tried the new Ontario portal for vaccination?
Well, I haven't signed up, no, because I'm not 80 over.
Okay, no, okay. Yeah, good answer. Okay, but no, have you taken a look at it?
Not yet. But
Okay.
I did, if you go to the Ontario site and you are 80 and over and you live in Halton, it will simply redirect you back to the Halton site. So we set up our site before the provincial one because we were ready to give vaccines before the site was up. And we wanted to make sure that people could book an appointment and get a vaccine, which we've been doing for, a week and a half now, well before the provincial site was up. We do work very closely with the province and in time expect that we will probably join our system to theirs, but ours is working really well right now. It actually gives us some extra flexibility to restrict registration to the priority populations. And then as the new phases come in and as additional groups can be vaccinated, we can add that to our system. So that's working really well for us right now. But in time, of course, we're happy to work with the province if it makes sense to port over to their system.
I know we talked about this quite a few times in the last couple of weeks about vaccination popping in regions and such.
Yeah.
So, I know we're not supposed to, right? But do you think in time it'll just be kind of like, hey, if you need a vaccine and you can get it in Burlington sooner, do you think that'll just be open and this will just be kind of like a topic that we used to talk about?
I don't know what's down the road, but right now you can't even book an appointment in Halton if you're not a Halton resident. So there's a screen, you have to enter your ID, you have to enter your postal code, you have to enter your health card. And so that will eventually all match up. And once you get to the clinic, you got to show your ID.
Okay.
So that what you entered on your booking appointment is valid. So there are, I suppose it's still possible for somebody to, put in a fake postal code. But, we're really trusting that people will use the system appropriately and have put in place those checks and balances. So it's Halton residents that are able to access the Halton sites. And the important part of that is that every district gets assigned vaccines based on their population, right? So we'll have enough for our Halton residents and we need to be able to take care of our Halton residents based on the supplies that we get.
Sure. Okay. Did your dog just walk into the room?
No, but I think this chair is squeaking.
Oh,
I'm just moving around. Sorry.
Sorry, I thought your dog just walked in.
He is. Somewhere.
And you were petting him or something. Okay, sorry.
No, I was sitting on my foot, but it's starting to fall asleep. So
you can move around if you want. You could move to. So.
Stand for these. I sit all day.
You can go ahead.
No worries.
Okay. So let's change gears a little bit. So Burlington Council recently approved a 2021 COVID-19 property tax deferral program.
Mm-hmm.
Who can apply for that? Can anybody?
Anybody.
Oh, okay.
So any homeowner or business owner who pays property taxes can push pause on their payments and no penalty or interest will accrue. So you eventually have to pay the taxes, but normally you'd start to add up penalty and interest. And we've basically given a holiday for that and forgiven that so you won't incur any. And then at some point you'll pay your taxes and you won't have this big bill of interest and penalty.
Okay, awesome. Summer recreational programs in Burlington, is it happening?
Absolutely, yes. Okay. So our staff are planning for in-person programming, and of course, it will all be dependent on what the regulations from the province are, what's allowed, the group sizes, is gameplay allowed, or just training and that sort of thing. So we're getting ready for programming based on what we anticipate will be the regulations, but that will be further refined closer to the summer. In terms of big festivals and events, Canada Day will be virtual again this year. And good news, a little plug for everyone at the city and all the people who participated in our most recent Canada Day virtual celebration. We won an Ontario award for that.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to do it again in July. So it's really a mix. There's not going to be any of the large festivals. They've all, some of them might think about smaller pop-up type neighborhood very small events, but we have said that until the gathering size is increased to 1,000, there aren't going to be any planning for, right? And I mean, we're at 10 right now, right? So
cool.
The big events aren't going to happen, but there's lots of small community events, and there's funding. So if you have a neighborhood gathering that you want to do where you can socially distance, maybe everyone, wave at each other from the driveways, or we've seen music or concerts where everybody sits in their driveway and stays apart, there's funding for that.
Okay.
Funding for virtual neighborhood events, for things like, at Christmas time, there was funding for different neighborhoods to put up, Frosty the Snowman or reindeer on their yard, and then you would drive around and see all the displays. And so there's lots of creativity. There were 12 or 15 of those that were funded last year, so that's available to our community for those micro small events, which we can do because you can observe the protocols for social distancing, and you can observe the gathering size protocols. So
is this municipal funding or provincial?
it is. No, it's municipal. This is our community development funding that the city has had for a number of years, but we're really trying to encourage people to think about COVID and virtual and different types of things and apply for, like I said, those super micro and socially distanced or drive-by type events that would be that would be safe in COVID. And the imagination that people have used is amazing. So think about that for summer. We just had something come through. I just had something come through yesterday where this neighborhood street party is saying, look, this is what we're thinking, and we're going to all be socially distanced in our driveways, and we're going to take all these protocols, and, can we proceed? And so I sent it right off to our community development fund. They were very excited. So we can work with people and groups that want to do those micro events to give them funding and to give them advice around proper protocols to make sure it's all okay.
Nice. And sorry, I forgot to say happy St. Patty's Day. Are you drinking?
I wish I had a beer, but no, I don't. I saw pictures of other politicians at like 6 in the morning with a Guinness, and I'm like, you tell me you took that yesterday. Please. Like, really? But, that's all right.
Have you indulged yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm still working. I'm still.
Are you hitting a patio?
Well, it's nice enough to hit a patio. I haven't thought that far ahead.
well, this is a segue to the patio question, which is there's a patio program in Burlington, right? Yes. So, yeah. So tell us about that. And then you can.
Okay, finish.
Oh no, I said then you can go into a patio. So.
Then I can go. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have had some patios that actually have never really closed.
Okay.
They've been open, and in fact, in one of those really cold days a couple of weeks ago, I passed one of my favorite local pubs, the Poacher. It's 2 blocks from my house, and they didn't have a tent or anything, but people were outside with their, their toques and their parkas, and they're drinking beer, and I'm like, God love you, right? That's amazing. So I expect if I went out right now, I would see that patio packed.
Nice.
Socially distanced packed.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So small, appropriate groups of people who live together. So actually, we have renewed our patio program this year. We renewed it early. We said to folks, look, if you had a patio last year, just send us a quick renewal, you'll get it. And so I just reported, we got from our planning department stats that 27 applicants, 26 of those are renewals. There's 1 new one. Most of those are on private property throughout the city. So plazas that are expanding with the permission of their landlord into parking spaces or what have you. So those are all coming back again, which is great. 6 of those are downtown that are using city property because they don't have a whole different geography downtown. They're not part of the plaza. They don't have big, parking lots surrounding them. So we're letting them use our city sidewalks again. So 6 of those renewals have come forward, are being processed. So, 27 expanded patios. So lots of choices for people.
That's amazing.
Actually, so one of my constituents, it was awesome. They tweeted, well, if I get started now, I can, maybe by the end of the summer, depends on whether I go every day, I can work my way through all 27. So That's a goal for you, Khaled. Come see our 27 patios in the city of Burlington.
Is that a dare? Because I will take
It
that.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
Do it and tell me which ones you come
I
to.
will record every single one and create a little snippet.
Please do.
All right.
I guess I better do that too. So maybe I'll get
Actually, let's do it together. So.
Okay. The patio challenge. We'll do the patio challenge. Hashtag patio challenge. Visit all 27.
Totally.
Right, so I guess I'll have to get all the addresses once all those approvals are in, and I'll publish those. We'll do the patio challenge. I love it.
Okay.
And thank you to Wayne if you're watching, because he kind of gave me that idea, because he's going to do it anyway. He's a great.
Oh, is he really? Okay.
He's a great patio Burlington booster. He knows who he is. So.
Nice. Awesome. And I guess that's all I have. I know we've been doing this for about a year now. I was going to end by asking you what is the most kind of feel-good story that you've had over the last year? I know there's a lot.
There are so many to choose from.
Okay, do you want to hold off till next week?
Well, you know what? My wall of inspiration has dozens and dozens and dozens of individual stories of people, somebody knitting, things to put around a tree to brighten up a winter day, people painting rocks, people, like we were talking about earlier, people decorating for Christmas and getting the community together and collecting, you go by a Christmas display and leave a donation for the food bank, people doing drive-by, food bank pickups. And even the regular business of the city, which we talk about a little bit from time to time, we figured out at the city how to have virtual public statutory meetings on planning applications. And we had our longest, most delegations ever for a planning application. Close to 60 delegates came over 2 days,
Nice.
2 full days on Millcroft Greens. And the youngest, Lila, was 5.
Oh, wow.
So awesome. So to see young people getting involved, and she's our youngest delegate ever, and I asked her, of course, what she liked doing with her friends on the Millcroft Greens golf course, which is parcels are being proposed for redevelopment. And her and her friends go looking for turtles.
Nice.
So that was a very inspiring story, and the fact that you're never too young to get involved in city issues, whatever they are, whether it's development or planning or recreation or anything. I so encourage people to connect with your counselor, connect with the mayor, and come to city meetings where we're making decisions about budgets or planning applications, and tell us what you think, because we take that so very seriously. And government is better when we all work together, and we got to hear from the community, because we're making those decisions for you. So that was very inspiring. That was one of my bright spots. And then there was Matthew and Ethan, who are in public school, who also came forward and were very articulate, talked about what they like to do. There was just some amazing delegations. So that was a huge bright spot, because we've all had to learn to do everything differently, and the world continues. Life moves on, and the business of the city must continue. And so to find a way to still involve people, and to see that in a virtual environment we had more delegations than we've ever had on any file ever, kudos to that community. And I know some of them watch your show, so they might be watching this right now. So
Awesome.
That's off to you.
So and this is where I ask, is there anything else you want to talk about, or?
I think we've covered it.
All right. I think you just want to stand up. You want to hit that patio. So, and
I think we've covered it, and I'm really trying to think of what else is going on. But
okay, cool. And I want to thank you for being on with me for a year. We're literally just shy of 1 million views for you and I on for Facebook, Instagram stories, and on the website. So we're just literally shy of like 1 million views. So yeah, so just want to say thank you for being with me for a year.
And back at you, I can tell you one more thing. There is the 1-year anniversary of the declaration of the state of emergency in Burlington is this Sunday.
Okay.
21st. So I will have some reflections on my webpage, MarianneMeedWard.ca. We're lowering the flags for folks who died of COVID in the last year. to honor and remember them. But we're also, there's a lot of celebration in the post, and just reflecting back on the amazing things that our community has done and the things that will last beyond COVID, right? Those partnerships that have developed, those strong community bonds that have developed, where we had to, figure out how to work together in new ways, and those relationships will last well beyond COVID. So there's lots of good inspiration there, and I just encourage everybody to take a moment on Sunday and pat yourself on the back. We did it. We got through a year. Light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. We're almost out of this thing. Just hang on for a little bit longer, and we're not going back to what we were before COVID, because we're stronger now.
Yep, agreed.
We're gonna enter a new world that is better. So I will leave you with that thought.
Awesome. So I hope you enjoy your green beer tonight, and we'll talk next week.
Looking forward to it now that you've put it in my head.
All right. See you later.
Thanks, Cal.
Thank you. Bye.